In this lesson, I want to go over the velocity modulation and also the note modulation. Now let's start with the velocity. So this is just what it looks like when you open up a default preset. If I play a note, you can see that there is a indication, this green little dot, and then also you have the x-axis and the y-axis along this velocity line. So this velocity line, it's pretty straight at the moment, but you can add a curve like this. I believe you can also add some points and get a bit more complicated with your velocity curve if you wanted to. But for most purposes, you'd probably just want to leave it like this or give it a curve. And what you can do is if I'm just playing a note with a lower velocity on my keyboard, but you can hear that it's the same level. It's not quieter. There's no difference to the note. But if I play it quietly, if I hit my keyboard at a lower velocity versus a higher velocity, you can see that that dot jumps up. So at the moment, it's not going to do anything to your synth because we don't have this velocity assigned to any parameter. Now, what you can do is you can assign this to the level and you can adjust your level, and then you can get your velocity. We can exaggerate this. So let's just make it. And now there I'm playing the note at different velocities on my keyboard. I'm hitting the note at different velocities on my keyboard, and you're getting the level change according to the velocity. So I can also just give it a curve. And with this curve, it takes quite a bit of velocity for me to get that level up higher. I mean, I really have to slam down the note on my keyboard, and this is the opposite where it will take it. I have to really play the note pretty quiet to get that level down. And even just a little bit of increase in velocity makes that level jump up. So that's what you would mainly, I see mainly using this curve. I tend to just curve it a tiny bit like this. So now if I add on another oscillator, let's say I add on oscillator B, and I want this also to have the velocity changing with the level, then I have to assign this to the level. And same thing with these other 4 oscillators. So that's just something to keep in mind. There is another way of doing this in the matrix. So let's say I had both of these oscillators at 75%. Instead of assigning this velocity to both of these levels, then I can go into this matrix and have this velocity. You click on the source and you've got velocity, and then send it to the global amp, which is like the amp of your entire synth serum. And then you adjust this amount, and then you can get that velocity curve on the level across all of the oscillators. Like that. And then if you right click, we can bypass everything, remove all the destinations, initialize the graph. So if I want to initialize this graph, if I got a bit too crazy with it, and let's just go ahead and remove that and move on to this note graph now. Now, same thing with the graph on this note graph, but what this note is tied to is the notes on your keyboard. So a lower value, let's just turn that off. A lower value will be lower versus a higher value will be higher. And it goes up like that. So it's like key tracking. If I were to turn on key tracking on this filter, how that filter raises up as I play a higher note, that is what this does. So you could use this to assign it to the filter. You could use this for something like, I sometimes will go to one of these miscellaneous filters, like for example, a ring mod, which has this pitch as you adjust this cutoff, and you can assign this note to the cutoff and adjust this, and now that ring mod pitch, and let's lower this mix a bit. That ringing sound will change with the note that I play. So that's something cool you can do. And also there is a ring mod filter in the FX section. So if I go to here and if I go to this ring mod, there's also this ring mod. And this one actually sounds different for some reason. I don't know why. But this one sounds different when I assign it to that cutoff. More of like that telephone sound, which you've probably heard in some recent Tech House tracks. I've heard this being used a bit, where you got this like telephone ringing noise. So it's just using this note mod assigned to the cutoff, because versus, let's remove it. You can hear that like ringing timbre stays the same when I'm just playing all those notes, but it changes a lot more when I assign this note value to the cutoff. So that's something that I like to do with this note graph. So that is everything that I wanted to touch on for the velocity and the note graphs, or the note and velocity modulations. So I will see you in the next lesson.